In a world full of surface-level stories, we go deeper. Welcome to The Depth, your destination for facts, science, history, and mysteries that shape our world. Let's begin the journey, deeper than ever before. Did you know that water can boil and freeze at the same time? It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's a real phenomenon called the triple point. Under specific pressure and temperature conditions, water can exist as a solid, a liquid, and a gas all at once. How wild is that? Speaking of wild things, let's talk about you. Right now, as you're watching this, your brain is operating with the same amount of power as a tiny 10-watt light bulb. It's an incredibly efficient supercomputer, processing everything you see and hear. It's the reason you can understand these words, think about your day, and wonder what you're having for dinner later. All that on just 10 watts. And while your brain is quietly working away, the planet is putting on a spectacular light show. Did you know that lightning strikes the Earth about 8 million times every single day? That's almost 100 strikes per second. It's a constant, powerful reminder of the raw energy of nature happening all around us, all the time. Okay, here's a fun little challenge for you. Try to hum while holding your nose closed. Go on, give it a shot. You can't do it, right? To hum, you need to exhale air through your nose, and if you're pinching it shut, the air has nowhere to go. It's a simple trick, but it perfectly illustrates how our bodies work in ways we don't always think about. Let's talk about food for a second. Have you ever looked at a banana and thought, I wonder if this is radioactive? Probably not, but it turns out they are, just slightly. Bananas are rich in potassium, and a small fraction of natural potassium is a radioactive isotope. Don't worry, you'd have to eat millions of bananas in one sitting for it to be harmful. But what's even crazier is that we share about 60% of our DNA with bananas. Yes, you heard that right. You and that banana on your counter are distant cousins. It's a great reminder that all life on Earth is connected in the most unexpected ways. Now, let's go from the breakfast table to the far reaches of space. Imagine something so dense that a single teaspoon of it would weigh as much as a mountain. That's a neutron star for you. These are the collapsed cores of massive stars, packing an incredible amount of mass into a tiny space. The universe is filled with mind-boggling extremes like this, but you don't have to look to space to find staggering numbers. Just look in the mirror. Right now, there are more bacteria living in your mouth than there are people on planet Earth. Before you run for the mouthwash, remember that most of them are harmless, and many are even helpful. Our bodies are entire ecosystems, teeming with life. And speaking of bodies, let's dive under the sea. The octopus is one of the most intelligent and mysterious creatures in the ocean, and it has some unique anatomy. They have not one, not two, but 3 hearts. 2 hearts pump blood through the gills, while the third circulates it to the rest of the body. They also have blue blood. How cool is that? From the deep sea to ancient history. What's one food item you think could last for thousands of years? The answer is honey. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. Thanks to its low moisture content and high acidity, it's a terrible environment for bacteria, so it essentially never spoils. It's nature's perfect preservative. Now, for a fact that's literally illuminating. You, right now, are glowing in the dark. It's true. The human body emits a tiny amount of visible light through a process called bioluminescence, a byproduct of our metabolic processes. The glow is about 1,000 times weaker than what our eyes can detect, so you won't be replacing your nightlight anytime soon, but it's happening. You are a source of light. Here's something you can test for yourself. Measure your height first thing in the morning, and then again right before you go to bed. You'll find that you're slightly taller in the morning. Throughout the day, gravity compresses the cartilage in your spine and joints, making you a tiny bit shorter. While you sleep, your spine decompresses, and you regain that lost height. Ever had someone tell you to cover your mouth when you sneeze? There's a good reason for it. A sneeze can travel at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour. That's faster than a cheetah, the fastest land animal. So next time you feel a sneeze coming on, just remember you're about to unleash a biological hurricane. When you think of the strongest muscle in your body, you might think of your biceps or your quads, but in proportion to its size, the tongue is the strongest muscle. It's an incredibly complex and powerful organ that allows us to speak, eat, and swallow. And there's another secret it holds. Human saliva contains a natural painkiller called opioorphin, which has been found to be even more potent than morphine in some studies. Our bodies have their own built-in pharmacy. Let's switch gears to chemistry. Take a look at the periodic table of elements. You'll find almost every letter of the alphabet, except for one. Can you guess which one it is? It's the letter J. It is the only letter that doesn't appear in any of the official element names or symbols. A fun little quirk of scientific history. From the tiny world of letters to a massive iron monument. The Eiffel Tower in Paris actually changes height depending on the season. In the summer, the heat causes the iron to expand, making the tower grow by up to 15 centimeters, or about 6 inches. When it gets cold in the winter, it shrinks back down. It's a giant metal thermometer. Here's something that might change how you look at your drink. Is ice a mineral? Most of us think of minerals as rocks and gems, but by definition, a mineral is a naturally occurring crystalline solid. Ice fits that description perfectly. So, yes, the ice cubes floating in your glass are technically minerals. Your body is constantly renewing itself in incredible ways. Take your stomach, for example. To protect itself from the strong acid it uses to digest food, your stomach lining completely replaces itself every 3 to 4 days. If it didn't, it would literally digest itself. It's a continuous rapid-fire renovation project happening inside you right now. Finally, let's look up at the night sky. On a clear night, you might see a few thousand stars. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, contains hundreds of billions of stars. It's a number so vast it's hard to comprehend. But here's something even more mind-blowing. There are more trees on Earth than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Current estimates suggest there are over 3 trillion trees on our planet. It's a powerful reminder of how precious and abundant life is right here on Earth, our own beautiful home in the vastness of space. Learning about these incredible facts really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? We often talk about sight and hearing, but did you know that the human nose is an absolute powerhouse? Forget a few thousand or even a million cents. Scientists estimate that your nose can detect over 1 trillion different smells. 1 trillion. That's more than the number of stars in our galaxy. Think about that the next time you smell freshly baked bread, cut grass, or that unique scent right after it rains. Speaking of which, that specific smell of rain isn't just a poetic description. It has a scientific name, petrichor. It's the earthy scent produced when rain falls on dry soil. It's a combination of plant oils and a chemical called geosmin, released by soil bacteria. So, the next time you enjoy that fresh post-rain aroma, you can say, "Ah, I love the smell of petrichor." You'll sound incredibly smart, I promise. Now, let's turn our attention inward to the amazing machine you live in every single day, your body. Have you ever wondered how much of you is, well, blood? It turns out that our blood makes up about 8% of our total body weight. So, if you weigh 150 pounds, about 12 pounds of that is the life-sustaining fluid coursing through your veins, delivering oxygen and nutrients everywhere they need to go. It's like having a built-in delivery service that never takes a day off. And speaking of things that never take a day off, let's talk about your heart. This tireless organ beats over 100,000 times a day. That's more than 35 million times a year. While you're sleeping, working, or just watching this video, your heart is faithfully pumping away, keeping you alive. It's the most reliable engine you'll ever own. While we're on the subject of our bodies, here's a slightly gross but fascinating fact. Over the course of your life, you will shed about 40 pounds of skin. That's almost the weight of an average 5-year-old child. Your body is constantly renewing itself, with old skin cells flaking off to make way for new ones. Most of the dust in your home? Yep, a good portion of it is made up of dead skin cells. It's a constant cycle of renewal, happening right under our noses, or rather, all over our skin. And here's something uniquely human. We are the only animals that blush. When we're embarrassed, anxious, or feeling a strong emotion, blood rushes to our cheeks, creating that telltale red glow. It's an involuntary social signal, a way of non-verbally communicating our feelings. No other creature in the animal kingdom does this. It's a small, strange, and exclusively human trait. Let's zoom in even closer, right down to the microscopic level. Inside every one of your cells is DNA, the blueprint for your entire existence. If you were to take all the DNA in your body and stretch it out, end to end, how far do you think it would reach? To the moon? Around the Earth? Not even close. It would stretch from the Earth to the Sun and back, 600 times. That is an astronomical distance, packed neatly inside you. It's mind-boggling to think about the sheer volume of information contained within us. This incredible complexity is managed by the command center, the human brain. It contains over 100 billion neurons, which is more connections than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Every thought, memory, and action is the result of these neurons firing in complex patterns. It's the most sophisticated computer known to exist, and you carry one around on your shoulders every day. But this amazing brain has a funny little quirk. Have you ever tried to tickle yourself? You can't, right? It just doesn't work. That's because your brain, specifically the cerebellum, anticipates the sensation. It knows it's your own hand, and essentially cancels out the ticklish response. Your brain can tell the difference between an expected touch from yourself and an unexpected touch from someone else, which is why you're vulnerable to a tickle attack from a friend. It is a clever self-monitoring system that shows just how aware our brains are of our own bodies. And while we're talking about bodily functions, here's a liquid asset you might not think much about. The average human produces about 25,000 quarts of saliva in a lifetime. That's enough to fill 2 swimming pools. Saliva is crucial for digestion, oral health, and taste. So next time you drool over a delicious meal, remember you're contributing to your lifetime swimming pool quota. Let's pull back from the human body and look at the world around us. We often feel so disconnected from the distant past, from the cosmos. But here's a fact that connects you to the very beginning of everything. Every single atom in your body, the carbon, the oxygen, the hydrogen, is billions of years old. These atoms were forged in the hearts of distant stars that lived and died long before our sun was even born. When those stars exploded, they scattered these elements across the galaxy, and eventually, they came together to form our planet, our solar system, and you. You are literally made of stardust. It's not just a poetic phrase. It's a scientific reality. Now for some things that are just plain powerful. Think about a summer thunderstorm. That flash of lightning you see is more than just a bright light. A single bolt of lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun. The sun's surface is about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, while a lightning bolt can reach temperatures of 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 5 times hotter. It's a staggering amount of energy released in a fraction of a second. Speaking of energy and how it moves, let's talk about sound. We're used to sound traveling through the air. But did you know that sound travels much faster in water? It moves about 4 times faster in water than in air because the molecules in a liquid are packed more closely together than the molecules in a gas, allowing sound vibrations to pass through more efficiently. That's why whales can communicate over such vast distances in the ocean. Let's dive into the animal kingdom for a moment, where things are always a little strange. Take the humble goldfish. You might think of it as a simple pet with a short memory, but that's a myth. Goldfish are surprisingly intelligent. In fact, studies have shown that they can recognize and remember human faces. Your pet goldfish likely knows who you are and can distinguish you from a stranger. So be nice to your fishy friend. They're watching, and they remember. Now, let's talk about an even stranger creature, the snail. These slow-moving mollusks have a survival trick that's hard to believe. A snail can sleep for up to 3 years. If conditions are not favorable, like during a drought or extreme cold, they can enter a state of hibernation, sealing themselves in their shells and waiting it out. Imagine taking a nap that lasts for 3 years. Let's travel back in time, way back. We think of trees as an ancient and permanent fixture of our planet's landscape, right? But what if I told you that sharks are older? Sharks have been swimming in the oceans for over 400 million years. The first trees, on the other hand, didn't appear until about 350 million years ago. That means sharks existed for 50 million years before the first forests ever grew. They are true prehistoric survivors, swimming the seas long before the dinosaurs even walked the earth. And speaking of ancient history, our own planet has changed dramatically. A day on Earth wasn't always 24 hours long. Billions of years ago, when the Earth was young and spinning much faster, a day lasted only about 18 hours. The Moon's gravitational pull has been gradually slowing down our planet's rotation over eons, making our days longer. And let's wrap up with a few final tidbits of knowledge. The human body is a masterpiece of biological engineering. While we're a jumble of flesh and fluid, it all hangs on a sturdy framework. The adult human body has 206 bones, from the massive femur in your leg to the tiny little bones in your ear. They provide structure, protect our organs, and allow us to move. And our eyes, the windows to the soul, are just as complex. The human eye can distinguish between 10 million different colors. It's a spectrum of hues and shades that our brains process instantly, allowing us to perceive the rich, vibrant world around us. Finally, have you ever wondered where the word science itself comes from? It's not just a modern term. It originates from the Latin word scientia, which simply means knowledge. And that's what this has all been about, gaining a little more knowledge, a little more wonder about the universe and our place in it. From the trillions of scents we can smell to the stardust that makes up our bodies, the world is filled with astonishing truths. Did you know your brain can't actually feel pain? That's right. While it processes all the pain signals from your body, the brain itself has 0 pain receptors. So, when surgeons perform brain surgery on a patient who's awake, the patient doesn't feel a thing in their brain. It's a bizarre thought, isn't it? The organ that tells you ouch can't say ouch for itself. Speaking of what's inside our heads, let's talk about family. And I mean our really extended family. You might feel a special connection to your dog or cat, but genetically, our closest relatives in the animal kingdom are chimpanzees. We share a whopping 98.8% of our DNA with them. That is a tiny 1.2% difference that accounts for everything from skyscrapers and smartphones to poetry and philosophy. It really puts our place in the natural world into perspective. Now, let's move from our ancient relatives to our own bodies. Have you ever noticed your nails seem to grow like weeds during your summer vacation? You're not imagining it. Fingernails actually grow faster in the summer than in the winter. The increased sun exposure boosts our vitamin D production, which in turn accelerates nail growth. So, if you're trying to grow out your nails, a little bit of sunshine might be your best friend. From our nails, let's go deeper, right down to the very code of life itself. The discovery of DNA is one of the most important scientific breakthroughs in history. But do you know when it happened? It wasn't in the 20th century with Watson and Crick's famous double helix model. It was way back in 1869. A Swiss chemist named Friedrich Miescher was the first to identify this mysterious substance in the nuclei of human white blood cells. He called it nuclein, and it took decades before its true significance was understood. Our bodies are full of surprises. For instance, we all know we need iron in our diet, but just how much is in there? Well, the average adult human body contains enough iron to make a small nail, about 3 inches long. It's a tiny amount, but it's absolutely vital. Most of that iron is in our hemoglobin, the protein in our red blood cells that carries oxygen. So next time you see a nail, remember you've got one of those inside you, just spread all around. And speaking of vital elements, let's look up. That beautiful sunlight warming your face? It's not instantaneous. It actually takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for light from the sun to travel the 93 million miles to reach Earth. So, when you look at the sunset, you're technically seeing the sun as it was over 8 minutes ago. It's like a cosmic time delay, happening every single day. Let's bring it back to Earth. When you think of the most common element in the air, you think of nitrogen, right? But what about in the Earth's crust? The ground beneath your feet? It's oxygen. About 47% of the Earth's crust by weight is made up of oxygen, mostly bonded with silicon to form rocks and minerals. It's locked away, not the breathable kind, but it's a reminder that the building blocks of our planet are full of surprises. Now for a creature that seems to be made of almost nothing at all. A jellyfish might look substantial, but it's actually about 95% water. The other 5% makes up its delicate, bell-shaped body and stinging tentacles. They have no brain, no heart, and no bones. They're basically just beautifully organized water, drifting through the ocean. It's a simple, yet incredibly successful, design for life. Let's journey from the ocean depths to the very center of our planet. What do you think is hotter, the Earth's core or the surface of the Sun? It's a trick question. They're about the same. The temperature at the Earth's core is estimated to be around 10,800 degrees Fahrenheit, or 6,000 degrees Celsius, which is roughly the same temperature as the Sun's surface. We're living on a planet with a star at its center. Most of us think of metals as strong and stable, but some are anything but. Take elements like potassium or sodium. If you drop a pure piece of these metals into water, they don't just sink, they explode. They react so violently with water that they release hydrogen gas and enough heat to ignite it, causing a fiery blast. It's a dramatic chemistry lesson you definitely don't want to try at home. Back to the human body, which is in a constant state of change. Did you know that you get a brand new skeleton roughly every 10 years? It's not like you shed the old one, of course. Instead, your body is constantly breaking down old bone tissue and building new bone in its place. This process, called remodeling, means the bones you have today are not the same ones you had a decade ago. You are literally rebuilding yourself from the inside out. And here's another bony fact. You were born with more bones than you have right now. A newborn baby has around 300 bones. As we grow, many of these smaller bones, particularly in the skull, fuse together. By the time we reach adulthood, we're left with just 206. So, in a way, we all start out as a more complicated puzzle that simplifies itself over time. While our bones are fusing, our brain is growing. But it doesn't grow forever. The human brain generally stops growing in physical size around the age of 25. This milestone marks the full maturation of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and long-term planning. So, for anyone under 25, your brain is still a work in progress. We talked about iron making a nail, but it's also responsible for a fundamental feature of our bodies, the color of our blood. Blood is red because of the iron atoms in the hemoglobin molecules. When oxygen binds to this iron, it reflects red light, giving blood its characteristic color. It's the same reason rust is reddish-brown. It's iron reacting with oxygen. Let's switch from our bodies to the animal kingdom for a truly mind-bending fact. An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. Each of its eyes is about the size of a billiard ball, giving it incredible vision. Its brain, on the other hand, is smaller than its eyeball. It's a classic case of evolution prioritizing one sense, sight for spotting predators, over raw processing power. Now let's take a trip to the center of our galaxy. What does the Milky Way smell like? According to astronomers who have studied a giant dust cloud at the heart of our galaxy, it has a distinct aroma. Thanks to a chemical called ethyl formate, the Milky Way likely smells like rum and tastes like raspberries. It's a cosmic cocktail out there in the stars. Back on Earth, let's talk about human hair. It might seem fragile, but it's incredibly strong. A single strand of human hair can support up to 100 grams, or about 3.5 ounces of weight. That means a full head of hair could theoretically support the weight of 2 elephants. It's all thanks to the fibrous keratin proteins that make up its structure. Here's a question that has puzzled scientists and philosophers for ages. Are viruses alive? According to the common biological definition, they aren't. Viruses are not considered living organisms because they can't reproduce on their own. They need to infect a host cell and hijack its machinery to make more copies of themselves. They exist in a strange gray area between chemistry and life. Try this right now. Take a big swallow. Now try to inhale while you're swallowing. You can't do it, can you? Humans are unable to breathe and swallow at the same time. This is because a flap of tissue called the epiglottis covers your windpipe when you swallow to prevent food from going into your lungs. It's a simple but life-saving piece of biological engineering. You might think your brain powers down when you do, but that's far from the truth. Your brain is sometimes even more active when you're asleep than when you're awake. During REM sleep, the stage where you have vivid dreams, your brain is busy consolidating memories, processing emotions, and clearing out toxins. So, a good night's sleep isn't just rest. It's essential maintenance for your mind. What if I told you that bananas are berries, but strawberries are not? It's true. In botanical terms, a berry is a fruit that develops from a single ovary and typically has seeds embedded in the flesh. That describes a banana, a grape, and even a watermelon perfectly. Strawberries, on the other hand, develop from a flower with multiple ovaries, making them an aggregate accessory fruit. So next time you're in the produce aisle, you can look at the fruit with a whole new perspective. Speaking of things that are over before you know it, let's talk about the shortest war in history. Forget years or even days. The Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896 lasted a mere 38 minutes. It was fought between the United Kingdom and the Zanzibar Sultanate. The conflict began after the pro-British Sultan died, and his successor took the throne without British approval. The Royal Navy delivered an ultimatum, and when it wasn't met, they opened fire. 38 minutes later, it was all over. Talk about a swift resolution. Now, let's flock to our next fact. You've heard of a flock of birds, a school of fish. But what do you call a group of crows? A murder. A murder of crows. It sounds a bit sinister, doesn't it? This term dates back to the 15th century and is thought to originate from old folk tales and superstitions that associated these intelligent blackbirds with death and dark omens. But don't worry, crows are actually incredibly smart and social creatures, even if their group name is a little unsettling. Let's hop over to Australia for a moment. Kangaroos are known for their powerful hind legs and incredible jumping ability. But did you know they have a significant limitation? Kangaroos can't walk backward. Their large feet and long, thick tail are designed for forward propulsion and balance, making a reverse gear physically impossible for them. So, if a kangaroo ever needs to back up, it has to turn around. It's a one-way street for these magnificent marsupials. Time for a population check. Which do you think there are more of? Real flamingos or fake ones? If you guessed fake, you're absolutely right. There are significantly more plastic lawn flamingos in the world than their living, breathing counterparts. The wild flamingo population is estimated to be a few million, but the number of pink plastic lawn ornaments sold since their invention in 1957 is in the tens of millions. It's a strange world where the replica outnumbers the original. Are you a cat person? Well, your cat might not be a you person. It turns out some cats can actually be allergic to humans. It's rare, but it happens. The allergy is usually a reaction to our dead skin cells, or dander, as well as the perfumes, colognes, or soaps we use. Symptoms in cats can include skin irritation, itching, and respiratory issues. So, if your cat is always sneezing around you, it might not just be a coincidence. Think you have a good vocabulary? Try spelling this. The longest word in the English language is the chemical name for the protein titin, and it has 189,119 letters. I won't even try to pronounce it, because reading it aloud would take over 3 hours. It's so long that it's almost never written out in full and is often just referred to as titin. It just goes to show how complex language can be, especially when it comes to science. Have you ever thought about how often you blink? Probably not, but your eyes are busy. The average human blinks around 15 to 20 times per minute. That adds up to over 1,200 times an hour and more than 28,000 times a day. Blinking is a crucial reflex that keeps our eyes lubricated and protected from dust and debris. So, while you're watching this video, you've already blinked dozens of times without even noticing. Here's a fact that will make you rethink anatomy. A shrimp's heart isn't in its chest, it's in its head. More specifically, its heart is located in the cephalothorax, which is the fused head and thorax region of the shrimp. So, if you ever hear someone call another person shrimp-hearted, you can tell them it's technically shrimp-headed. It's a tiny detail about a tiny creature that's surprisingly fascinating. Let's talk about one of the world's most famous beverages. When you think of Coca-Cola, you think of that dark caramel color, right? Well, it wasn't always that way. The original formula for Coca-Cola was actually green. It's believed the color came from the coca leaves used in the recipe. The iconic brown color we know today came later from the addition of caramel coloring to make the drink look more appealing and consistent. Imagine cracking open a green can of Coke. Tired of short winter days? You might want to move to Longyearbyen, a town in Norway located far north in the Arctic Circle. For 76 days a year, from late April to late August, the town experiences the midnight sun, a phenomenon where the sun never sets. It doesn't dip below the horizon at all. Residents have to use blackout curtains to sleep, but they also get to enjoy outdoor activities at all hours of the day. It's a place where the day literally never ends, for a while at least. Fast food chains are always trying new things, but some ideas are better than others. Back in the early 2000s, McDonald's tested a very unique menu item: bubblegum-flavored broccoli. The idea was to make vegetables more appealing to kids. Unsurprisingly, the focus groups of children were confused. The sweet taste of bubblegum just didn't work with the texture and flavor of broccoli. The project was quickly scrapped, and it remains one of the most bizarre fast food experiments in history. What color is an orange? That seems like a silly question, but the answer isn't so simple. The first oranges weren't orange at all. The original oranges from Southeast Asia were actually a tangerine pomelo hybrid, and they were green. In fact, in warmer tropical climates where they grow, oranges often remain green even when they're ripe. The orange color we associate with the fruit is actually a result of it being grown in cooler climates, where the cold causes the green chlorophyll in the peel to die off, revealing the orange pigment underneath. So the fruit isn't named for the color is named for the fruit. This next one is just adorable. Sea otters have a heartwarming habit to keep them from drifting apart while they sleep. They hold hands. These marine mammals often rest on their backs in the water, and by linking paws with one or two other otters, they form a raft. This prevents them from floating away from their group, especially in choppy waters. It's a beautiful example of cooperation and connection in the animal kingdom. Where did the word nerd come from? You might think it originated in a schoolyard, but it actually came from the whimsical world of Dr. Seuss. The word first appeared in his 1950 book, If I Ran the Zoo. In the book, the narrator lists a series of bizarre creatures he would collect for his zoo, including a nurgle, a nerd, and a seersucker, too. The word didn't have its modern meaning then, but it was picked up by students in the following years and evolved into the term we know today for a smart, passionate enthusiast. Friendship isn't just a human concept. Studies have shown that cows have best friends. Researchers found that cows form strong social bonds with specific members of their herd. When they are with their preferred partner, their stress levels are significantly lower and their heart rates are calmer. They spend most of their time with this best friend, grooming them and grazing alongside them. So next time you see a field of cows, know that you're looking at a complex social network of bovine buddies. Have you ever woken up from a vivid dream and wondered how much of your life you spend in that state? On average, a person spends about 2 hours per night dreaming. If you add that up over an average lifespan, it comes out to roughly 6 full years spent in the dream world. That's 6 years of adventures, bizarre scenarios, and subconscious explorations. It's a huge part of our existence that happens entirely inside our own minds. Is eternal life possible? For one species of jellyfish, it is. The Turritopsis dohrnii, also known as the immortal jellyfish, has a unique survival mechanism. When it faces stress, physical harm, or old age, it can revert back to its earliest stage of life, a polyp, and begin its life cycle. Who do you think can hold their breath longer? If you said the dolphin, you'd be wrong. That's right, sloths can hold their breath for up to 40 minutes underwater, while dolphins need to surface after about 10 minutes. It's because sloths can slow their metabolism down to a crawl, conserving oxygen in a way that would make a free diver jealous. Speaking of surprising animal skills, did you know that some turtles have a built-in snorkel in their rear end? It's a process called cloacal respiration, and it allows them to absorb oxygen from the water through their butts. This is especially useful during hibernation when they're underwater for long periods. So next time you see a turtle, just remember, they might be breathing in a very unconventional way. And what about romance in the animal world? Forget roses and chocolates. If you're a penguin, it's all about the pebbles. Male penguins search for the smoothest, most perfect pebble to present to their chosen mate. If she accepts the pebble, they become a couple and use it to start building their nest. It's a pretty rock-solid way to start a relationship, don't you think? Let's move on to insects. Imagine tasting your favorite food. You use your tongue, right? Well, butterflies have a different approach. They taste with their feet. They have chemoreceptors on their tiny feet that let them know if a leaf is a good place to lay their eggs or a tasty source of nectar. It's like having taste buds on the soles of your shoes. Now, for a bit of flair, what do you call a group of flamingos? A flock? A herd? Nope. It's called a flamboyance. And honestly, has there ever been a more perfect name for a group of these fabulous pink birds? It just fits. Let's scale things down a bit. Way down. In 2021, scientists discovered the world's smallest reptile in Madagascar. It's a species of chameleon so tiny it can comfortably sit on the tip of your finger. It's a reminder that incredible things often come in very, very small packages. Okay, let's shift gears from the natural world to the world we've built. Think about your computer or your phone. You've probably heard of computer viruses, but did you know the first one was created back in 1986? It was called the Brain virus. And while it was relatively harmless compared to today's malware, it was the start of a whole new era in digital security. And how about the humble light bulb? We all credit Thomas Edison, and rightly so, for perfecting it. But here's a fun fact. Edison didn't invent electricity. Electricity is a natural phenomenon. What he did was figure out a practical, safe, and commercially viable way to harness it to create light, changing the world forever. It's a great lesson that innovation isn't always about inventing something from scratch, but about improving and applying existing knowledge in new ways. Let's talk about waking up. Are you a fan of your alarm clock? Be thankful you didn't have the first one. Invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787, this early alarm clock had a major limitation. It could only ring at 4 a.m. He was a clockmaker who needed to wake up for work before sunrise, so he designed it for his specific needs. No snooze button, no different time settings, just a guaranteed 4 a.m. wake-up call. Time for some earth science that sounds like science fiction. Look up at the sky. See those fluffy white clouds? They look light and airy, but the average cumulus cloud weighs about 1.1 million pounds. That's equivalent to 100 elephants floating over your head. How does it stay up there? Because the water vapor and ice crystals are spread out over a huge area and are less dense than the dry air below them. Speaking of massive things, what's the world's largest desert? The Sahara, right? Wrong. The largest desert on Earth is Antarctica. A desert is defined by its low precipitation, not its temperature. And since Antarctica is a frozen wasteland with very little snowfall, it qualifies as the world's biggest, coldest polar desert. It covers an area of about 5.5 million square miles. Let's dig a little deeper, literally, into the Earth's core. Did you know there's enough gold in our planet's core to coat the entire surface of the Earth in a layer about 1.5 feet deep? The only problem is it's about 1/800 miles below our feet and at incredibly high temperatures, so we won't be mining it anytime soon. From the Earth's core to our dinner table. Why do apples float in water? It's not magic. It's science. Apples are made up of about 25% air. This makes them less dense than water, causing them to float. So the next time you're bobbing for apples, you'll know exactly why it works. Now, for a bit of human oddity, there's a village in the mountains of northern Turkey where people have a unique way of communicating over long distances. They use a complex language of whistles. This whistled language, known as bird language, is so intricate that it can convey complex sentences. It's a fascinating example of human ingenuity and adaptation. And, finally, a challenge for you. Try to lick your own elbow. Go on, I'll wait. Can't do it, right? For the vast majority of people, the length of their arm and neck just doesn't allow for this particular feat of flexibility. It's one of those weird little limitations of the human body. So, did we blow your mind? From butt-breathing turtles to million-pound clouds and pebble proposals, the world is full of strange and wonderful truths. It just goes to show you that there's always something new to learn, and reality is often far more interesting than fiction. Did you know there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth? Mind-boggling, right? Just think about that for a second. Every tiny grain of sand you've ever seen, or ever will see, is outnumbered by the stars twinkling above us. It really puts things into perspective. Speaking of amazing things in nature, let's talk about bees. We know they're crucial for pollination, but did you know they can actually recognize human faces? That's right. Next time a bee buzzes by, it might just remember you. So, be nice to them. They're like tiny, flying security guards with excellent memory. Now, let's bring it a little closer to home. Literally, inside your own body. Take a deep breath. Feel that? Your left lung is actually smaller than your right lung. It's not a design flaw. It's designed that way to make room for your heart. Your body is an incredible piece of natural engineering, making space for its most important components. From natural engineering to human invention, let's jump to technology. What year do you think the first 3D printer was made? Maybe the 2000s? The 90s? Nope. The very first 3D printer was created way back in 1983. That's over 4 decades ago. The technology we think of as futuristic has been around longer than many of us have been alive. Let's dive back into the animal kingdom for a fun one. Imagine a crocodile. Big teeth, powerful jaws, but one thing it can't do? Stick out its tongue. A crocodile's tongue is attached to the bottom of its mouth, so it can't move it freely. So, no rude gestures from Mr. Croc. And while we're on big cats, let's talk about tigers. Those beautiful stripes aren't just a pattern on their fur. If you were to shave a tiger, you'd find that its skin is striped too. The pattern is literally skin deep, a permanent part of their identity. Ever wonder about the color of your favorite fruit? Take oranges, for example. The name says it all, right? Well, not originally. The first oranges, grown in Southeast Asia, were actually green, even when they were ripe. The orange color we associate with them developed when they were grown in cooler climates. So, oranges were green before it was cool. Let's get into some cool science. We all know fire needs oxygen to burn. But did you know some metals can burn underwater? Thermite, for instance, a mixture of metal powder and metal oxide, can burn at such extreme temperatures that it creates its own oxygen from the water around it. It can even produce a mesmerizing blue flame beneath the waves. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. Now, let's look at a creature of the night, the owl. With their big, round eyes, they look like they see everything. But here's a twist. Owls can't move their eyeballs. They're fixed in their sockets. To look around, they have to turn their entire head, which they can do up to 270 degrees. It's like having built-in binoculars that require a full-body turn to aim. Back to inventions, and this one is in almost every kitchen. The microwave oven. It was invented completely by accident. An engineer named Percy Spencer was working on radar technology when he noticed a chocolate bar in his pocket had melted. He put 2 and 2 together, experimented with some popcorn, and voila! The microwave was born. A sweet, delicious accident. Feeling unique on your birthday? Well, here's a fun fact. You share your special day with about 20 million other people around the globe. So while it's your day, it's also a massive, worldwide party. Happy birthday to all of you, whenever it may be. What's your favorite smell? For many, it's the scent of freshly cut grass. It smells so clean and fresh, right? Well, that smell is actually a plant's distress signal. It's a cocktail of chemical compounds released when the plant is injured. So, what we perceive as a pleasant aroma is actually the grass screaming for help. A little dark, but fascinating. Let's head to the ocean. Dolphins are incredibly intelligent, we know that. But did you know they have names for each other? They develop unique whistles to identify themselves, and other dolphins will mimic that specific whistle to call them. It's the animal equivalent of shouting, "Hey, Bob," across the water. Still in the ocean, let's talk about sharks. They seem ancient, and they are. Sharks are older than trees. The earliest shark fossils date back over 400 million years. The first trees, on the other hand, appeared about 350 million years ago. So, sharks were swimming in the oceans long before the first forests ever grew on land. And for our final fact, let's shrink down to the world of insects. There's a species of ant in Malaysia that has a truly explosive defense mechanism. When threatened by a predator, These ants can contract their abdominal muscles so violently that they rupture their own bodies, releasing a sticky, toxic goo all over the enemy. They literally go out with a bang to protect their colony. Now that is the tomato. We all know it's a fruit, right? Botanically, yes, but legally. In a U.S. Supreme Court case from 1893, the tomato was officially declared a vegetable for tax purposes. So, is it a fruit or a vegetable? The answer is yes. Speaking of things changing their identity, let's talk about the Eiffel Tower. This iconic landmark isn't static. When summer hits Paris, the iron structure heats up and expands, making the tower grow by up to 15 centimeters, or about 6 inches. It literally gets taller in the summer. So next time you're there on a hot day, you're looking at a slightly taller version of the tower. Now, for something that's a joy to pop, bubble wrap. Did you know its original purpose had nothing to do with protecting packages? In 1957, its inventors were trying to create a textured, three-dimensional plastic wallpaper. Imagine walking into a room with walls you could pop. The wallpaper idea didn't take off, but thankfully, they found a much better use for it. From bubbly walls to mythical creatures, let's head to Scotland. What do you think their national animal is? A majestic stag? A Highland cow? Nope. It's the unicorn. Since the 15th century, this symbol of purity, innocence, and power has been Scotland's official national animal. It's a fantastic reminder that a little bit of magic is officially recognized by a whole country. Let's move from magic to the animal kingdom's incredible abilities. We know elephants have huge ears, but did you know they can also hear with their feet? They can detect low-frequency rumbles and vibrations in the ground made by other elephants miles away. They pick up these seismic signals through the sensitive skin on their feet, which then travel up their leg bones to their middle ear. It's like having a built-in long-distance communication system right under their soles. Here's another "wait, what?" moment for you. Remember Play-Doh? That colorful, squishy stuff we all loved as kids? Its inventor wasn't trying to make a toy. He was actually trying to create a product to clean soot off wallpaper. The original Play-Doh was an off-white, pliable putty designed for cleaning. When people switched from coal to gas heating, the wallpaper cleaner business dried up, but a teacher discovered it was a perfect, non-toxic modeling clay for children. And the rest is history. Now let's get inside your head, literally. Your brain is the command center for everything, including pain signals from your body. But here's the twist. The brain itself has no pain receptors. It can't feel pain. That's why surgeons can perform brain surgery on patients who are awake. They can feel the sensations of the procedure, but not pain in the brain tissue itself. It's the ultimate paradox. The organ that interprets pain can't feel it. Leaving Earth for a moment, let's go to our celestial neighbor. We have earthquakes, but did you know the moon has moonquakes? These are caused by the gravitational pull of the Earth and the cooling of the moon's interior. Some of them can last for up to an hour. They're much weaker than our big earthquakes, but it is fascinating to think that the moon isn't as geologically dead as we might assume. Back on Earth, let's talk about something less pleasant. Mosquitoes. If you feel like you're a mosquito magnet, your diet might be to blame. Studies have shown that mosquitoes are more attracted to people who have recently eaten bananas. The exact chemical reason isn't fully understood, but it seems that something in our body chemistry after eating a banana sends out a "come and get it" signal to those pesky insects. So, maybe skip the banana smoothie before your next camping trip. Finally, a little lesson in patience from the world of fruit. When you grab a pineapple from the store, ever wonder how long it took to get there? A single pineapple can take up to 2 years to grow from planting to harvest. The plant grows for about a year before it even produces a flower, and then it's another 6 months or so for the fruit to develop. It's a serious time investment for that sweet, tropical taste. Makes you appreciate it a little more, doesn't it? Did you know that water, the stuff we drink every day, is one of the most mysterious and powerful substances on our planet? Let's dive deep into some mind-blowing facts that will change the way you see H2O forever. Picture our beautiful blue planet from space. That stunning color comes from the fact that a whopping 70% of Earth's surface is covered in water. It's an ocean world. But here's the catch. Out of all that water, only a tiny 3% is fresh water, the kind we can actually drink. It's incredibly precious, and it gets even more exclusive. Of that small 3% of fresh water, a staggering 68% is locked away, frozen in ice caps and glaciers. So, the water we rely on for everything, from our morning coffee to growing our food, is just a tiny fraction of a fraction. It really makes you think about how valuable every single drop is, doesn't it? Now let's bring it closer to home, right into our own bodies. Did you know that you are right now about 60% water? That's right. Water is the main ingredient in the human body, keeping our cells happy, our brains sharp, and our bodies functioning. We are literally walking, talking bags of water. So next time you take a sip, remember you're just topping yourself up. Water also has a superpower. It's the universal solvent. This means it can dissolve more substances than any other liquid on Earth. From the sugar in your tea to the minerals in the soil that nourish our plants, water's ability to dissolve things is fundamental to life as we know it. It's the ultimate mixer, constantly carrying nutrients and chemicals all over the planet and inside our bodies. Here's a fun one that baffles scientists to this day. Under certain conditions, hot water can actually freeze faster than cold water. This strange phenomenon is called the Mpemba effect, named after the Tanzanian student who discovered it. Scientists are still debating exactly why it happens, but it's a cool party trick and a great reminder that even something as simple as water still holds secrets. Have you ever wondered why ice cubes float in your drink instead of sinking to the bottom? It's because water is a bit of a rebel. Most substances shrink and become denser when they freeze, but water does the opposite. It expands by about 9% when it turns into ice, making it less dense than its liquid form. This unique property is incredibly important. If ice sank, lakes and oceans would freeze from the bottom up, making life impossible for aquatic creatures during winter. So, floating ice is actually a lifesaver. Let's venture from the freezer to the deepest, darkest corners of our planet. The deepest point in any ocean is the Mariana Trench in the Pacific. How deep is it? It's about 11 kilometers or nearly 7 miles straight down. To put that in perspective, if you could place Mount Everest at the bottom of the trench, its peak would still be more than a mile underwater. The pressure down there is immense, over 1,000 times what we experience at sea level. And what's happening down in those deep, dark places? A lot of volcanic activity. Believe it or not, about 80% of all volcanic eruptions on Earth happen underwater. We often think of volcanoes as fiery mountains on land, but most of the planet's volcanic action is hidden beneath the waves, constantly shaping the ocean floor and creating new land. The deep ocean is so mysterious and hard to reach that it is often called the final frontier on Earth. And here, it's a wild fact to prove it. More people have traveled to space than have visited the deepest parts of the ocean, like the Mariana Trench. We literally know more about the surface of the moon than we do about our own planet as seabed. Imagine the creatures and discoveries that are still waiting for us down there. Now, let's travel from the deep ocean to the coldest place on Earth, Antarctica. You might think of it as just a vast, solid block of ice, but hidden beneath its massive ice sheets are entire ecosystems. Scientists have discovered hundreds of liquid lakes and even flowing rivers under the ice, completely cut off from the outside world for millions of years. Who knows what unique forms of life might be thriving in those subglacial environments? Speaking of life forms made mostly of water, let's talk about jellyfish. These beautiful, ghostly creatures that drift through the ocean are made of about 95% water. They have no brain, no heart, and no bones. They are essentially just delicate, gelatinous bags of water that have survived for hundreds of millions of years. It's a testament to the simplicity and efficiency of nature's design. When you think about where the oxygen we breathe comes from, you probably think of trees and rainforests. They are hugely important, of course, but the ocean is the planet's biggest lung. Through tiny marine organisms called phytoplankton, the ocean produces more than half of the world's oxygen. So, every other breath you take, you can thank the ocean. It's a powerful reminder of how connected we all are to the sea, no matter how far from the coast we live. We all know the ocean is salty, but do you have any idea just how salty it is? If you could somehow magically remove all the salt from the ocean and spread it evenly over all of Earth's land surfaces, it would form a layer about 500 feet or 150 meters thick That's as tall as a 40-story office building. That's an unbelievable amount of salt. And finally, to really grasp the sheer scale of our planet's water, consider the Pacific Ocean. It is, by far, the largest single feature on Earth. It is so vast that it is actually larger than all of the planet's landmasses combined. You could fit all the continents, Asia, Africa, North and South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia, into the Pacific Ocean and still have room to spare. It's a truly mind-boggling scale. From the makeup of our own bodies to the vast, unexplored depths of the sea, water connects everything. It's a substance of strange paradoxes and incredible power, and we've only just scratched the surface of its mysteries. Did you know the average person uses about 100 gallons of water daily? That's enough to fill 2 bathtubs. But where does it all come from? Well, every single drop you drink has a history stretching back billions of years. Think about it. The water in your glass could have been part of a dinosaur's watering hole or a prehistoric rainstorm. It's the ultimate form of recycling, on a planetary scale. And water doesn't just quench our thirst. It acts as Earth's thermostat. It absorbs heat from the sun, distributes it around the globe through currents, and releases it slowly, preventing our planet from experiencing extreme temperature swings. It's the unsung hero of our climate system. Speaking of massive bodies of water, let's talk about the Amazon River. This single river is so immense that it carries 20% of all the fresh water flowing into the world's oceans. That's more than the next 7 largest rivers combined. But here's a twist. As vast as all the rivers on Earth are, there's actually more water floating above our heads in the atmosphere. It's like an invisible river in the sky, just waiting to become rain. Now, let's take a trip to one of the strangest places on Earth, the Dead Sea. It's not actually dead, but it's so incredibly salty, nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean, that you can't help but float. You can literally lie back, read a book, and bob around like a cork. It's an experience that defies gravity. But the real wonders begin when we venture beneath the waves. The ocean is where life on Earth began, and today, an astonishing 94% of all life on our planet exists there. We're just a tiny fraction of the life forms on Earth. The average depth of the ocean is about 3.7 kilometers, or 2.3 miles. That's like stacking 8 Empire State Buildings on top of each other. And in those dark, mysterious depths, incredible things are happening. Let's talk about the masters of the ocean. Did you know that sharks have a sense of smell so refined they can detect a single drop of blood in 25 gallons of water? That's like finding one specific grain of sand on a small beach. They're not just mindless hunters. They are perfectly evolved predators. And then there's the largest animal that has ever lived, the blue whale. Its heart alone is the size of a small car, and its tongue weighs as much as an elephant. Its calls are so loud they can be heard by other whales hundreds of miles away. It's a true titan of the deep. Dolphins, some of the smartest creatures in the sea, have a unique survival trick. They sleep with one eye open. To avoid danger and remember to breathe, they shut down only half of their brain at a time. The other half stays alert. Imagine being able to take a nap while still being partially awake and aware of your surroundings. And the ocean is full of transformers. Some species of fish, like the clownfish made famous by Finding Nemo, can actually change their gender. In a clownfish group, only the largest female and male reproduce. If the female dies, the dominant male will change into a female to take her place. It's a fascinating strategy for survival. Even more bizarre, some fish can walk on land. The mudskipper, for instance, uses its fins like little legs to crawl out of the water and navigate muddy terrain, breathing through its skin. But the ocean is more than just a home for amazing creatures. It's a guardian. Coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea, are a perfect example. They cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, but support a staggering 25% of all marine species. They provide food, shelter, and nurseries for countless fish. They also act as natural barriers, protecting our coastlines from storms and erosion. They are absolutely vital to the health of our oceans and our planet. The ocean isn't just a biological treasure trove, it's a historical one too. It is estimated that there are more historical artifacts and lost treasures lying on the seabed than in all the museums of the world combined. Shipwrecks from ancient civilizations, sunken cities, and lost riches from centuries of maritime trade are all preserved in the deep, just waiting to be discovered. It's the world's biggest museum, and we've barely explored the first exhibit hall. From the floating sea to the walking fish, the world of water is more complex, more bizarre, and more beautiful than we can ever imagine. Every drop tells a story, and every wave hides a secret. We've only just scratched the surface of what lies within our planet's blue heart. What we do know is that this world is interconnected. The health of the tiniest coral polyp is linked to the stability of our climate, and the water flowing from our taps is part of an ancient planet. Did you know the Arctic Ocean is the smallest of all the world's oceans? It's still massive, of course, but it's a bit of a baby compared to the Pacific. But even the smallest ocean holds incredible secrets. In fact, humanity knows more about the surface of the moon than we do about our own ocean floor. We've mapped the entire lunar surface, but over 80% of our oceans remain unexplored, unmapped, and unseen by human eyes. Imagine what's down there. It's the last true frontier on Earth. And the creatures that call this frontier home are straight out of a science fiction movie. Take the sea cucumber, for instance. If you think your ability to sneak out of an awkward party is impressive, you've got nothing on this guy. When threatened by a predator, a sea cucumber can literally liquefy its own body, turning into a goopy puddle to squeeze through tiny crevices and escape. Once it's safe, it just pulls itself back together. How cool is that? Speaking of cool creatures, let's talk about sharks. Forget what you saw in the movies. Some sharks have a superpower that's way more enchanting than scary. Certain species, like the swell shark and the chain cat shark, are bioluminescent. That's right, they glow in the dark. They absorb the blue light of the deep ocean and re-emit it as a vibrant green glow. Scientists believe they do this to communicate with each other in the dark, creating a secret, glowing social network deep beneath the waves. Now, let's talk about the ocean's geography. You're probably familiar with waterfalls on land, but did you know there are massive underwater waterfalls too? The largest known one is the Denmark Strait Cataract, located between Greenland and Iceland. It's a colossal cascade where cold, dense water from the Nordic seas plunges over 11,500 feet into the warmer water of the Irminger Sea. It's nearly 3 times the height of Angel Falls, the tallest waterfall on land, and its flow rate is estimated to be 50 million cubic meters per second. That's like 2,000 Niagara Falls combined, all happening silently beneath the ocean's surface. The ocean's power is truly humbling. Consider tsunamis. These aren't just big waves, they are immense walls of water. When a tsunami is traveling across the deep, open ocean, it can reach speeds of over 500 miles per hour. That's as fast as a commercial jet airplane. It's only when it approaches shallow water that it slows down and rises to its terrifying height. This incredible speed is why early warning systems are so crucial. But the ocean is also a source of breathtaking beauty. The Great Barrier Reef, off the coast of Australia, is the largest living structure on Earth. It's a sprawling, vibrant ecosystem made up of billions of tiny organisms called coral polyps. It's so vast, so immense, that it's one of the few natural formations visible from space. Astronauts have looked down and seen this beautiful, intricate network of life stretching for over 2,400 miles. It's a powerful reminder of the delicate and interconnected web of life the ocean supports. The ocean is also a vast museum, holding more human history than all the museums on land combined. It's estimated that there are more than 3 million shipwrecks resting on the ocean floor. That means there are more historic artifacts and sunken treasures beneath the waves than there are living people on some entire continents. Each wreck is a time capsule, telling a story of exploration, trade, or tragedy. Beyond history, the ocean plays a critical role in our planet's climate. It acts as a giant heat sink, absorbing over 90% of the excess heat trapped in our atmosphere by greenhouse gases. Without the ocean, our planet would be unimaginably hotter. It's our planet's air conditioning system, working tirelessly to keep things in balance, but this incredible service is also putting immense strain on marine ecosystems, which is why protecting our oceans is so vital. Now, let's get weird again. Imagine you're scuba diving and you suddenly come across a river flowing at the bottom of the sea. It sounds impossible, right? But it's real. These underwater rivers and lakes form when seawater seeps into thick layers of salt beneath the seabed, becomes super salty and dense, and then flows back out, creating distinct bodies of water that don't mix with the ocean around them. There's even a famous one in the Gulf of Mexico called the Jacuzzi of Despair. Its water is so toxic and salty that any creature that swims into it is often pickled and dies. It's a beautiful but deadly trap at the bottom of the sea. The intelligence found in the ocean is just as mind-boggling. We all know dolphins are smart, but did you know they have names for each other? Researchers have discovered that dolphins develop unique signature whistles to identify themselves. They call out their name to get the attention of other dolphins, and other dolphins can mimic a specific whistle to call that individual. It's a complex social behavior that's incredibly similar to how humans use names. And think about the simple, mesmerizing motion of a wave. An average ocean wave can travel thousands of miles across the open ocean without breaking. The energy moves through the water, but the water itself mostly stays in place, just moving up and down. That wave you see crashing on the beach in California might have started its life in a storm near Japan, traveling silently across the entire Pacific. Let's go back to the bizarre biology for a second. Octopuses are already famous for their 8 arms and intelligence, but did you know they have blue blood? Their blood is copper-based, using a protein called hemocyanin to transport oxygen, unlike our iron-based hemoglobin. This is actually more efficient for surviving in cold, low-oxygen environments deep in the ocean. And as if that's not enough, they also have 3 hearts. 2 pump blood through the gills, and 1 circulates it to the rest of the body. They are truly alien-like. The ocean also holds solutions to some of our biggest challenges. A single large iceberg, broken off from a glacier, can contain more than 20 billion gallons of fresh water. That's enough to supply drinking water to 1 million people for over 5 years. The logistics of harvesting and transporting this water are complex, but it highlights the immense, untapped resources the ocean holds. So, from underwater waterfalls that dwarf anything on land to glowing sharks, from rivers at the bottom of the sea to creatures that can liquefy themselves, the ocean is a realm of endless wonder. Can a fish drown? It sounds impossible, right? They live in water. But here's the thing. Fish breathe oxygen that's dissolved in the water, not the oxygen in the H2O molecule itself. If the water doesn't have enough dissolved oxygen, a fish can, in fact, suffocate and drown. It's a strange but true reality of aquatic life. Now, let's journey from the fish tank to the deepest parts of our planet. Imagine taking a car and sinking it to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The immense pressure down there, over 1,000 times what we feel at sea level, would crush that car as easily as you or I would crumple a piece of paper. It's a powerful reminder of how extreme the deep ocean environment really is. Water is also a master of disguise. We all learned about its 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. But did you know water can exist in all 3 states at the exact same time? It's called the triple point. At a very specific temperature and pressure, just above freezing, at 0.01 degrees Celsius, you can witness ice, liquid water, and water vapor coexisting in perfect equilibrium. It's a fascinating, almost magical phenomenon that happens under very precise conditions. The ocean is full of mysteries and strange sounds. For years, a mysterious ultra-low frequency sound nicknamed the bloop puzzled scientists. It was louder than any known animal sound. Was it a giant sea monster? The truth, while less monstrous, is just as cool. It's now widely believed that the sound was made by a massive iceberg cracking and breaking away from a glacier. The sheer scale of that event created one of the loudest sounds ever recorded in our oceans. Speaking of massive bodies of water, let's talk rivers. When you think of the longest river, which one comes to mind? For most people, it's the legendary Nile. And they're right. Stretching over 6,750 kilometers, or more than 4,100 miles, the Nile River wins its way through 11 countries in Africa. It has been the lifeblood of civilizations for thousands of years, a true giant of the natural world. Now let's look at the water we can't see. Take a look at the t-shirt you're wearing. If it's made of cotton, it has a hidden water story. It takes a staggering 2,700 liters of water, that's enough for one person to drink for almost 3 years, to produce just one single cotton t-shirt. From growing the cotton plant to dyeing the fabric, the water footprint of our clothes is absolutely massive. It really makes you think about the resources behind the things we use every day. And while we're on the topic of our impact, let's talk pollution. We often picture ocean pollution as things being dumped directly from ships. While that does happen, the shocking truth is that about 80% of all pollution in our oceans actually originates on land. It's runoff from our farms, trash from our cities, and chemicals from our industries that flow into rivers and eventually find their way to the sea. It shows just how connected our entire planet's water system is. Even the rain falling from the sky isn't as pure as you might think. As raindrops fall through the atmosphere, they act like tiny sponges, collecting dust, pollen, and pollutants along the way. So, that fresh rain smell is actually the scent of everything it has picked up on its journey down to Earth. It's never just pure H2O. Now, let's bring it back to us. Why is water so crucial for our survival? Well, for starters, our brains are made of 73% water. Just a small drop in hydration can affect your concentration, memory, and mood. So, staying hydrated is literally one of the best things you can do for your brain health. It keeps the gears turning and the thoughts flowing. Let's head back to the rivers, specifically the Amazon. This incredible ecosystem is home to one of the most unique creatures on the planet, the Amazon River dolphin, also known as the boto. And yes, they can be pink. While born gray, many of the males turn a striking pink color as they age. It is an amazing sight and a beautiful example of the biodiversity our planet's freshwater habitats support. We tend to think of the ocean as warm and tropical, perfect for a swim. But that's really just the surface. The average temperature of the entire ocean is a chilly 3.5 degrees Celsius, or about 38 degrees Fahrenheit. The vast majority of the ocean's volume is deep, dark, and incredibly cold, a world away from the sunny beaches we know and love. But not all bodies of water are the same. Let's take a trip to the Dead Sea. If you've ever seen photos of people effortlessly floating on its surface, there's a reason for that. The Dead Sea is nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean. The extreme salt concentration makes the water so dense that you can't help but float. It's a truly bizarre and unique place on Earth. From salty seas to colossal waves. What's the biggest wave ever recorded? It wasn't in the middle of the ocean during a storm. It was actually in Lituya Bay, Alaska, in 1958. An earthquake triggered a massive landslide which crashed into the bay and created a mega tsunami that reached a mind-boggling height of 1,220 feet. That's taller than the Empire State Building. It's hard to even comprehend the power of a wave that massive. Here's a thought to ponder the next time you take a sip of water. Remember that glass I mentioned earlier? The water cycle is a closed system. This means the total amount of water on Earth has remained the same for billions of years. So, every glass of water you drink likely contains at least a few molecules that were once part of a river a dinosaur drank from. You are literally drinking history. Pretty cool, right? And speaking of incredible things hidden in water, the ocean is a literal treasure chest. It's estimated that our oceans hold about 20 million tons of gold. The problem? It's incredibly diluted, spread throughout the vast volume of seawater. Extracting it is currently impossible on any practical scale, but it's amazing to think that we're swimming in a sea of gold. Let's appreciate just how important water is for our entire planet. Without our oceans and atmosphere moderating temperatures, Earth would be a place of extreme heat. Scientists estimate that without the regulating effect of water, the average temperature on our planet would be about 255 degrees Celsius hotter. Water is essentially our planet's air conditioning system, making life as we know it possible. We often look up at the night sky and feel a sense of wonder, but do you ever stop to think about how truly bizarre and incredible the universe really is? Today, we're diving deep into some of the most astonishing, head-scratching, and downright weird facts about space. These are the kinds of facts that make you question everything you thought you knew. So, buckle up, because we're about to take a journey to the very edge of understanding. Let's start with something you might think you know. When you watch a sci-fi movie, what do you hear during a big space battle? Explosions, laser blasts, the roar of engines, right? Well, Hollywood has been lying to you. In reality, space is completely, utterly silent. It's a perfect vacuum, which means there are no molecules, no air, for sound waves to travel through. So, if a star 10 times the size of our Sun exploded right next to you, you wouldn't hear a single thing. It would be the most spectacular and silent fireworks show in history. It's a creepy, yet fascinating thought, isn't it? The universe is full of unimaginable violence and creation, all happening in total silence. Now, let's bring it a little closer to home, to our own solar system. We all know the Sun is big, but it's hard to grasp how big. Picture everything in our solar system. All the planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Earth, all of them. All the moons, all the asteroids, all the comets, every single speck of dust. Now, take all of that, put it on one side of a cosmic scale. On the other side, you put the Sun. The Sun would still account for 99.86% of the total mass. Everything else, including us, is just the leftover 0.115%. We are living in the Sun's universe, and it's the undisputed king, the gravitational anchor that holds our entire cosmic neighborhood together. Speaking of our neighborhood, let's take a trip to our planetary neighbor, Venus. We often call it Earth's sister planet because of its similar size, but Venus is a world of extremes. And one of its most bizarre features is its sense of time. Here on Earth, our day is 24 hours, and our year is 365 days. Simple. On Venus, one single day, the time it takes for the planet to complete one rotation on its axis, is 243 Earth days. But here's the crazy part. It only takes Venus 225 Earth days to orbit the Sun. That's right, a day on Venus is longer than its year. Imagine celebrating your birthday, and the Sun hasn't even set on the previous day. It completely messes with our concept of time. If you think that's a mind bender, let's talk about density. Imagine the densest thing you can think of. Maybe a block of lead? A diamond? That's nothing. Let's talk about neutron stars. These are the collapsed cores of massive stars, remnants of a supernova explosion. They are incredibly small, maybe only the size of a city, but they are unbelievably dense. How dense? If you could somehow scoop up a single teaspoonful of a neutron star's material, that tiny spoonful would weigh about 6 billion tons. That's the weight of about 900 Great Pyramids of Giza, all packed into a spoon. You could never lift it, of course. The gravity would be so intense it would rip you apart atom by atom. Feeling small yet? Well, let's zoom out. Go to the most beautiful, vast beach you can imagine. Pick up a handful of sand and try to count the grains. It's an impossible task, right? Well, for every single grain of sand on every single beach and in every desert on our entire planet, there are more than 10,000 stars in the observable universe. The number is so staggeringly large it's almost meaningless to our brains. We are talking about septillions of stars. It's a humbling reminder that our Sun is just one of countless stars in one of billions of galaxies. The universe is more vast and more populated with stars than we can possibly comprehend. So, we've established that space is silent, massive, and full of extreme objects. But what does it smell like? That sounds like a trick question, since you can't take your helmet off to sniff. But astronauts who have been on spacewalks report a very distinct odor when they come back inside the airlock and remove their helmets. They describe the smell of space dust clinging to their suits as a bizarre combination of seared or burnt steak, hot metal, and even a hint of welding fumes. Scientists think this smell comes from polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, which are molecules that drift through the cosmos and are also found in burnt food and coal here on Earth. So, space basically smells like a cosmic barbecue. Let's land on the Moon for a moment. The Apollo missions left behind some iconic footprints in the lunar dust. Because the Moon has no atmosphere, there's no wind to blow the dust around and no rain to wash the prints away. There's no erosion like we have on Earth. This means those footprints left by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin over 50 years ago are still there, perfectly preserved, as if they were made yesterday. And they will stay there for an incredibly long time, potentially for millions of years, until they are eventually erased by the slow, constant bombardment of micrometeorites. It's a permanent monument to humanity's first steps onto another world. Back to the planets, and let's visit the giant of our solar system, Jupiter. Jupiter is a gas giant. So massive that it's more than twice as massive as all the other planets in our solar system combined. And it's not alone. It has a huge collection of moons, a whole mini-solar system of its own. For a long time, we thought it had around 79 moons, which is already a lot. But recently, the count has been updated. As of now, Jupiter has 95 officially recognized moons, and astronomers are constantly finding more tiny ones orbiting the gas giant. It's a celestial dance of epic proportions, and we're still discovering all the partners. One of Jupiter's most famous features is the Great Red Spot. You've probably seen it in photos, a giant reddish swirl on its surface. But it's hard to appreciate the scale. That's not just a cloud, it's a colossal raging storm, an anticyclone, that has been churning for at least 350 years, maybe longer. And when I say colossal, I mean it. The Great Red Spot is so big that you could fit the entire planet Earth inside it, with room to spare. Imagine a hurricane bigger than our entire world, that has been going on for centuries. That's the kind of power we're dealing with in the outer solar system. Finally, let's visit the jewel of the solar system, Saturn. What makes Saturn so breathtakingly beautiful? Its rings, of course. But what are they? They look solid from a distance, like a giant celestial vinyl record. But they're not. Saturn's rings are made up of billions upon billions of individual pieces of ice and rock dust. These particles range in size from tiny specks of dust to chunks as big as a house. They are incredibly thin, relative to their width. While the rings stretch out for hundreds of thousands of kilometers, their main thickness is only about 10 meters, or 30 feet. It's like a sheet of paper the size of a city. This delicate, shimmering structure is one of the greatest wonders of our solar system. And there you have it, a whirlwind tour of some of the most mind-bending facts the universe has to offer. From a day, longer than a year, to a storm bigger than our planet, space is constantly challenging our understanding of what's possible. It just goes to show how much is still out there, waiting to be discovered. Have you ever dreamed of taking a stroll on Jupiter? Well, you might want to rethink that. You actually can't stand on Jupiter, or Saturn, Uranus, or Neptune for that matter. These celestial giants are known as gas giants, and they don't have a solid surface like Earth. They're primarily composed of hydrogen, helium, and other gases swirling around a small, dense core. Trying to land on one would be like trying to land on a cloud. You'd just sink right through the layers of atmosphere, facing immense pressures and extreme temperatures. It's a one-way ticket to a very squishy end. Now, let's bring it a little closer to home and talk about our lovely moon. We see it almost every night, a constant companion in our sky. But did you know it's slowly ghosting us? It's true. The moon is gradually drifting away from Earth at a rate of about 3.8 centimeters, or 1.5 inches, per year. This is happening because of the tidal interactions between the Earth and the moon. While that doesn't sound like much over billions of years, it adds up. This slow separation also means that Earth's rotation is slowing down, making our days slightly longer. So, if you ever feel like you need more hours in the day, just wait a few billion years. Speaking of cosmic movements, let's look at the bigger picture. Our home galaxy, the Milky Way, is not sitting still. In fact, it's on a direct collision course with our nearest major galactic neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. Don't panic just yet, though. This cosmic smash-up is scheduled to happen in about 4.5 billion years. When they do collide, it won't be a chaotic crash of stars. Instead, the two galaxies will merge over millions of years to form a new, even larger galaxy, which some astronomers have nicknamed Milkomeda. It's a spectacular, slow-motion dance of galactic proportions that will reshape our cosmic neighborhood forever. From galactic mergers to unimaginable treasures, the universe truly has it all. How about a planet made of diamonds? Yes, you heard that right. Astronomers have discovered an exoplanet called 55 Cancri e, which is about twice the size of Earth and 8 times its mass. It's so dense and orbits so close to its star that scientists believe a large portion of its mass could be pure carbon in the form of diamond and graphite. Imagine a world glittering with riches beyond your wildest dreams. It's a treasure chest on a planetary scale, but at 40 light-years away, it's a bit too far for a weekend trip. Let's move from planetary bling to a strange phenomenon that happens in the vacuum of space. If you take two pieces of the same type of metal with perfectly clean, flat surfaces and touch them together in space, something incredible happens. They bond permanently. This process is called cold welding. Here on Earth, our atmosphere creates a thin layer of oxidation on metal surfaces, which prevents this from happening. But in the vacuum of space, without that protective layer, the atoms of the two metal pieces don't know they are separate and join together as if they were one single piece. This is a major consideration for engineers designing spacecraft and satellites. Building things for space is obviously a huge challenge, and it comes with a hefty price tag. Thinking of becoming a space tourist? You might want to check the dress code first. A modern NASA spacesuit isn't just a set of clothes. It's a personalized miniature spaceship. It provides oxygen, water, temperature control, and protection from radiation and micrometeoroids. All that life-sustaining tech comes at a cost. A single spacesuit is estimated to be worth around $12 million. So, next time you see an astronaut on a spacewalk, remember they're wearing one of the most expensive and sophisticated outfits ever created. Now, for a little solar system pop quiz. Which planet is the hottest? If you said Mercury because it's closest to the Sun, that's a logical guess, but it's incorrect. The hottest planet in our solar system is actually Venus. Its surface temperature is a scorching 465 degrees Celsius, or 870 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to melt lead. Why is it so hot? Venus has an incredibly thick, toxic atmosphere made mostly of carbon dioxide, which creates a runaway greenhouse effect. It traps the sun's heat, turning the entire planet into a planetary oven. Mercury, lacking a significant atmosphere, can't hold on to its heat as effectively. While we're touring the solar system's record holders, let's make a stop at Mars. The red planet is home to the largest volcano we know of, Olympus Mons. This shield volcano is an absolute giant. It's about 25 kilometers, or 16 miles, high. That's nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest. Its base is so wide it would cover the entire state of Arizona. This colossal volcano was able to grow so massive because Mars has lower surface gravity and a lack of tectonic plate movement, allowing the lava to pile up in one spot for millions of years. It's a truly monumental landmark. Let's jump back to Mercury for another mind-bending fact. We talked about its temperature, but what about its days? A single day on Mercury, from one sunrise to the next, lasts for 176 Earth days. That's nearly half an Earth year. However, a single Mercurian year, the time it takes to orbit the Sun, is only about 88 Earth days. This means a year on Mercury is shorter than a day on Mercury. This strange timing is due to its slow rotation and fast orbit. It's a place where you could celebrate 2 birthdays in a single day. How's that for a time warp? Finally, let's end with a fact that connects us directly to the heart of our solar system. Every time you step outside and feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, you're experiencing energy that has traveled an immense distance. The light from the sun doesn't reach us instantly. It travels at the speed of light, of course, but it still takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds to journey the 93 million miles from the sun to Earth. So, if the sun were to suddenly vanish, we wouldn't know about it for over 8 minutes. It's a constant reminder of the vast scales of space and time we're dealing with. And that's a wrap on our 10 cosmic facts. The universe is a place of endless wonder and mystery, and we've only just scratched the surface. You might think you know our universe, but trust me, it's stranger than you could ever imagine. So, buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. Let's start with something close to home, or at least above our home. The International Space Station, that shining beacon you can sometimes spot in the night sky, is absolutely zooming. It travels at an astonishing 28,000 kilometers per hour. That's like traveling from New York to Los Angeles and back in about 30 minutes. The astronauts on board get to witness 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every single day. Imagine trying to set your sleep schedule with that kind of view. It really puts your daily commute into perspective, doesn't it? Now, let's talk about time. Einstein's theory of relativity isn't just a complex idea in a textbook. It has real-world effects. One of the coolest consequences is that time actually moves at different speeds depending on gravity. This means you age slightly slower on top of a mountain than you do at sea level. The difference is minuscule. We're talking nanoseconds over your lifetime, but it's real. The stronger the gravitational pull, the slower time passes. So, if you want to stay young just a tiny bit longer, maybe consider a home with a mountain view. It's the ultimate, albeit very subtle, anti-aging secret. Speaking of time, let's take a trip out to the far reaches of our solar system. If you think your birthdays come around too slowly, be glad you don't live on Neptune. A single year on this distant, icy giant lasts for 165 Earth years. That means if you were born on Neptune, you would have to wait a century and a half just to blow out the candles on your first birthday cake. Since its discovery in 1846, Neptune has only completed one full orbit around the Sun. It makes you appreciate our relatively zippy 365-day trip, right? But space doesn't just mess with time, it messes with your body too. Astronauts on the International Space Station can actually grow taller. Without the constant downward pull of Earth's gravity, the cartilage discs in their spines can expand. This can add up to 2 inches to their height. It's like a free, temporary growth spurt. Of course, once they return to Earth, gravity squishes them back down to their normal size, but for a while, they get to experience life as a taller version of themselves. It must be strange to come back and suddenly feel shorter. Now, let's venture outside our solar system to a planet that sounds like something out of a horror movie. Meet HD 189733b. From a distance, it looks like a beautiful, deep blue marble similar to Earth. But get closer, and you'll find it's a world of pure terror. The weather forecast there is extreme. It rains, but not water. It rains molten glass. And because of the planet's ferocious winds, which can reach speeds of over 8,700 kilometers per hour, the glass rain flies sideways. It's a literal storm of glass shards whipping through the atmosphere. So, as beautiful as it might look, this is one vacation spot you definitely want to skip. Back here on Earth, things are a bit more peaceful, but our planet isn't static. In fact, Earth's rotation is gradually slowing down. It's happening incredibly slowly, lengthening our day by about 1.8 milliseconds per century. This is mostly due to the gravitational pull of the Moon, which creates tidal friction. So, a day in the time of the dinosaurs was actually shorter than our 24-hour day. While you won't notice the change in your lifetime, billions of years from now, a day on Earth could be significantly longer. It's a slow-motion change that's reshaping our planet's entire rhythm. And while we're on the subject of the Moon, our celestial neighbor is a bit of a drifter. Every year, the Moon moves about 3.8 centimeters farther away from Earth. That's about the same speed your fingernails grow. Billions of years ago, the Moon was much closer, appearing huge in our sky. As it continues its slow escape, its influence on our tides will weaken, and total solar eclipses will eventually become a thing of the past, as the Moon will appear too small in the sky to completely block out the Sun. So, let's appreciate those spectacular eclipses while we still can. Now for something that will appeal to your senses. What does space smell or taste like? Well, for the most part, it's a vacuum. But astronomers have found that the dust cloud at the center of our Milky Way galaxy, Sagittarius B2, is full of a chemical called ethyl formate. Here on Earth, this is the compound that gives raspberries their taste and rum its distinctive smell. So, in a way, the center of our galaxy smells like rum and tastes like raspberries. It's an interstellar cocktail we can't actually drink, but it's a fun thought, isn't it? A galaxy-sized raspberry rum cloud. Life in zero gravity comes with some other strange quirks. For example, what happens when you cry in space? On Earth, gravity pulls your tears down your cheeks. But in the microgravity environment of the space station, your tears don't fall. They just stick. They form a liquid blob that clings to your eye and your face. Astronauts have described it as a stinging, blurry sensation. It makes dealing with emotions in space a unique physical challenge. It's a small detail, but it perfectly illustrates just how different life is without gravity. And finally, for our grand finale, let's talk about water. You think Earth's oceans are big? Well, they're just a drop in the cosmic bucket. Astronomers have discovered a colossal cloud of water vapor floating in space, so far away that its light has taken 12 billion years to reach us. This single cloud holds an estimated 140 trillion times more water than all of Earth's oceans combined. It's the largest, most distant reservoir of water ever detected in the universe. It's a staggering reminder of the sheer scale and wonder of the cosmos, and how much is still out there waiting to be discovered. And that's a wrap on our journey through the weird and wonderful facts of space. From sideways glass rain to a galaxy that smells like raspberries, the universe is constantly surprising us. It really makes you think about our small but special place in it all. Ever look up at the night sky and feel a sense of wonder? For instance, did you know that one day this beautiful night sky will be all we have? That's right. One day the night will last forever. But don't worry, you've got time to prepare. It's not for another 5 billion years, when our beloved sun finally burns out. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? The universe operates on timelines so immense they're almost impossible to grasp. Speaking of time, let's talk about Pluto. Ever since its discovery way back in 1930, this distant dwarf planet has been slowly making its way around the sun. And guess what? It still hasn't completed a single full orbit. A year on, Pluto is 248 Earth years long. Imagine celebrating your birthday just once in that entire time. It really puts our own quick trips around the sun into perspective. Now, let's venture into the weirder side of the cosmos. When you think of space, you probably think of silence, right? The final frontier where no one can hear you scream. Well, that's not entirely true. It turns out there are black holes that sing. Now, it's not a song you could hear with your own ears. Instead, they emit powerful sound waves that ripple through the vast clouds of gas surrounding them. Astronomers have detected these cosmic melodies, a deep, resonant hum from the darkest corners of the universe. It's like the universe has its own bass line, and it's played by black holes. And the universe is full of other extremes. Take neutron stars, for example. These are the incredibly dense remnants of massive stars that have gone supernova. They are so compact that a single teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh about as much as Mount Everest. But what's truly astonishing is how fast they can spin. Some of them rotate up to 600 times every single second. Can you even imagine that? An object more massive than our sun, spinning faster than a kitchen blender. It's one of the most extreme objects in existence. But the weirdness doesn't stop there. The universe itself is doing something extraordinary. It's expanding. You've probably heard that before. But did you know it's expanding faster than the speed of light? Now, hold on, I know what you're thinking. Didn't Einstein say nothing can travel faster than light? And you're right, objects within space can't break that speed limit. But this is the fabric of space-time itself that's stretching. It's not that galaxies are flying through space at impossible speeds. It's that the space between them is being created so fast it's pushing everything apart at an accelerating rate. It's a concept that can make your head spin almost as fast as a neutron star. Let's talk about size. Our sun is enormous, right? You could fit over 1 million Earths inside it. But in the grand scheme of the cosmos, our sun is, well, it's kind of average. There are stars out there, hypergiants, that are so mind-bogglingly huge they could easily swallow thousands of our suns. The largest known star, UY Scuti, is a perfect example. If you were to place it at the center of our solar system, its surface would extend out past the orbit of Jupiter. It's a celestial monster, a true giant of the galaxy. From the incredibly large, let's go to the incredibly cold. What's the coldest you've ever been? Maybe a harsh winter day? Well, that's practically a beach vacation compared to the Boomerang Nebula. This is officially the coldest known place in the universe, clocking in at a chilling -272 degrees Celsius. That's just 1 degree above absolute zero, the theoretical temperature where all particle motion stops. It's colder than the background radiation of space itself. How? The gas in the nebula is expanding incredibly rapidly, which has a powerful cooling effect, making it the universe's natural deep freeze. Now, let's come a little closer to home. Hidden in our own solar system are places that could harbor secrets we've only dreamed of. Take Europa, one of Jupiter's many moons. On the surface, it's a ball of ice. But beneath that frozen crust, scientists are almost certain there's a massive saltwater ocean. An ocean with more water than all of Earth's oceans combined, kept liquid by the gravitational pull of Jupiter. And where there's liquid water, there's the tantalizing possibility of life. Could something be swimming in the dark, hidden waters of Europa? It's one of the most exciting questions in modern science. Thinking about other worlds often makes us wonder what it would be like to live there. How about a trip to Mars? If you ever get the chance to go, you'll find the daily schedule surprisingly familiar. A day on Mars, called a sol, is only about 37 minutes longer than a day here on Earth. So you'd get a little extra time each day. What would you do with an extra 37 minutes? Maybe you'd have time to watch the Martian sunset, which, by the way, is a beautiful blue color. But if you're looking for something a bit more luxurious, maybe Neptune is the destination for you. Forget water rain. On Neptune, it's believed to rain diamonds. The intense pressure deep within the planet's atmosphere is so great that it can squeeze carbon atoms together, forming actual diamonds that then fall through the slushy interior like hailstones. A planet where the weather forecast is cloudy with a chance of diamonds. It's the ultimate bling of the solar system. The universe doesn't just play with matter and energy, it plays with time itself. Near a black hole, where gravity is incomprehensibly strong, time literally slows down. This isn't science fiction. It's a real consequence of Einstein's theory of relativity. If you could hover near a black hole for a while and then return to Earth, you'd find that far more time had passed for everyone back home than for you. It's nature's own time machine. Let's return to our star, the Sun. It's the engine of our solar system, constantly pumping out light and heat. But this process isn't free. The Sun is constantly converting its mass into energy. Every single second, it loses about 4 million tons of mass. That sounds like a lot, but don't worry. The Sun is so massive it can keep this up for billions more years. It's like a cosmic bonfire that's been burning for eons. And the energy in the universe is truly staggering. Think about a lightning bolt. A single flash contains an incredible amount of power. In fact, there's enough energy in just one lightning bolt to power a small town for a day. Now imagine the power of stars, of galaxies, of the entire universe. It's a scale of energy that's almost beyond human comprehension. Finally, what does space smell like? If you could take off your helmet, which you absolutely should not do, what would you smell? Astronauts who have returned from spacewalks have reported a very distinct scent clinging to their suits. They describe it as metallic, almost like welding fumes or seared steak. This strange smell is thought to come from high-energy vibrations of particles, or maybe from dying stars. Space isn't just a void, it has a character, a presence, and even a scent. From singing black holes to diamond rain, the universe is more strange, more wonderful, and more awe-inspiring than we could ever imagine. Did you know that right now, you're on a cosmic carousel? Our entire Milky Way galaxy is spinning at a breathtaking speed of about 210 kilometers per second. That's nearly 500,000 miles per hour. And it's not just spinning in place, it's dragging our sun, our Earth, and everything in our solar system along for the ride through the vastness of space. We're all hurtling through the universe on this massive, spiraling journey, and we don't even feel it. Now, let's talk about the edge of our cosmic neighborhood. We often think of Pluto as being far away, but the true edge of our solar system is so much further. It's a place called the heliopause, and it's nearly 18 billion kilometers, or about 11 billion miles, away. This is the point where the solar wind, that constant stream of charged particles flowing from the Sun, finally peters out and collides with the interstellar medium. It's the final frontier of the Sun's influence, a boundary so distant that it took the Voyager 1 spacecraft over 35 years to reach it. Speaking of long journeys, have you ever looked up at the moon and wondered how long it would take to get there? Well, let's put it in terms we can understand. If you could hop in your car and drive straight up to the moon, cruising at a steady highway speed of about 60 miles per hour, or 100 kilometers per hour, your cosmic road trip would take you just under 6 months. Imagine that. No traffic, no red lights, just a 6-month drive with the most incredible view you could ever imagine. Pack your snacks. While we're out there, let's consider a lonely but fascinating phenomenon. We're used to thinking of planets orbiting a star, just like Earth orbits the Sun. But the universe is full of surprises. There are countless rogue planets drifting aimlessly through the dark, cold expanse of interstellar space. These cosmic wanderers were likely ejected from their original solar systems and now travel alone, without a star to warm them. It's a hauntingly beautiful idea. Entire worlds sailing silently through the galactic night, each with its own mysterious history. Let's rewind the clock, all the way back to the beginning. We all know the term the Big Bang, and it often conjures up an image of a giant explosion in the middle of an empty void. But that's not quite right. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion in space, it was the rapid expansion of space itself. Think of it like a balloon inflating. Every point on the balloon's surface is moving away from every other point. In the first fraction of a second, the entire universe expanded from an infinitesimally small, hot, dense point to an astronomically huge size, and it's been expanding ever since. Now, for something that's happening to you right now, as you're sitting there, invisible particles are zipping through your body. These are cosmic rays, high-energy particles, mostly protons that have been accelerated to nearly the speed of light by supernovae and other violent cosmic events. Billions of them are bombarding Earth's atmosphere every second, and some make it all the way down to us. In fact, several of these cosmic bullets pass through your body every single second. But don't worry, they are so tiny and move so fast that they pass right through without causing any harm. You're being pierced by stardust, and you don't even know it. Let's travel to our planetary neighbor, Mars. We love our beautiful orange and red sunsets here on Earth, but on the red planet, it's a completely different show. Martian sunsets are blue. This happens because Mars has a very thin atmosphere filled with fine red dust. This dust scatters red light forward, keeping it close to the sun in the sky, while allowing blue light to penetrate further and scatter across the rest of the sky. So, as the sun dips below the Martian horizon, the area right around it glows with a cool, ethereal blue. Thinking about traveling to Mars brings up some practical considerations. Ever wonder how astronauts handle bathroom breaks during a long spacewalk that can last for hours? The answer is less glamorous than you might think. Their high-tech, multi-million-dollar spacesuits have a surprisingly low-tech solution, a built-in diaper system. It's officially called a maximum absorbency garment, but essentially, it's an adult diaper designed to keep them comfortable and focused on their mission without having to rush back inside. Space exploration is incredible, but it's not always elegant. Now, let's get into some really heavy stuff. Literally. Out in the cosmos, there are objects called neutron stars. These are the collapsed cores of massive stars, and they are unbelievably dense. They pack more mass than our entire sun into a sphere that's only about 20 kilometers, or 12 miles, across, roughly the size of a city. The gravity on a neutron star is so intense that a single teaspoon of its material would weigh as much as Mount Everest. That's about 6 billion tons. Imagine trying to lift that spoon. And finally, for our 10th and most mind-bending fact. When you look up at the night sky, you're not just looking at distant objects. You're looking back in time. Light travels incredibly fast, but space is so vast that it still takes time for the light from stars and galaxies to reach us. For the closest stars, it's a few years. For distant galaxies, it's billions of years. The Hubble and James Webb telescopes have captured images of galaxies whose light has been traveling for over 13 billion years. This means we are seeing those galaxies as they were shortly after the Big Bang. You are literally a time traveler every time you gaze at the stars. The Milky Way isn't just sitting there. It's spinning at a blistering 210 kilometers per second, and it's dragging our entire solar system along for the ride. Speaking of our solar system, its edge is nearly 18 billion kilometers away. That's the point where the sun's powerful solar wind finally runs out of steam. Ever dreamed of a road trip to the moon? If you could drive your car at a steady highway speed, you'd arrive in just under 6 months. Imagine the playlist you'd need for that journey. While you're cruising, you might pass by some rogue planets, entire worlds drifting through the dark, lonely void without a star to call home. Let's clear something up about the Big Bang. It wasn't a giant explosion in the traditional sense. Instead, it was the incredibly rapid expansion of space itself, everywhere at once. And while we're on the topic of cosmic events, did you know that invisible cosmic rays are zipping through your body every single second? Don't worry, they're completely harmless. Imagine watching a sunset on Mars. Instead of a fiery red, you'd see a beautiful, eerie blue, all thanks to the fine dust in its thin atmosphere. Back in orbit, astronauts on long spacewalks have a secret weapon. Their suits have a built-in diaper system. When you gotta go, even in zero gravity. Let's talk about extremes. There are stars out there so incredibly dense that a single teaspoon of their material would weigh as much as Mount Everest. That's a neutron star for you. And the light we see from the most distant galaxies has traveled for over 13 billion years to reach our eyes. We're not just looking at stars, we're literally looking back in time to the dawn of the universe. Think Antarctica is cold? The coldest spot humanity has ever created isn't on Earth at all. It's inside NASA's Cold Atom Lab, right aboard the International Space Station, hovering just a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Where's the center of the universe? Trick question. There isn't one. The universe is expanding equally in all directions, so from any point, it looks like you're at the center. It's a cosmic illusion. Feeling like your days are too long? Try living on the dwarf planet Haumea, where a full day zips by in just 4 hours. It spins so fast it's actually shaped like a squashed egg. And if you ever find yourself in a vacuum and shout inside your helmet, guess what? You'd still hear yourself. Sound can travel through the bones in your jaw and head directly to your eardrums. Let's check out the giant of our solar system, Jupiter. Its magnetic field is an astonishing 20,000 times stronger than Earth's, creating auroras bigger than our entire planet. Going back in history, the first living creature to orbit Earth wasn't a human, but a brave dog named Laika, who journeyed into space aboard a Soviet satellite in 1957. Her mission paved the way for all human spaceflight that followed. Saturn's iconic rings might look ancient, but they're actually younger than the dinosaurs. Scientists believe they formed less than 100 million years ago, which is just a blink of an eye in cosmic terms. Out in the deeper cosmos, astronomers have found a mysterious Great Cold Spot, a massive, unusually empty and cold region of space that they still can't fully explain. During a total solar eclipse, the moon's shadow races across the Earth's surface faster than the speed of sound. It's a silent, supersonic spectacle. And speaking of mind-bending physics, some supermassive black holes spin so incredibly fast that they literally drag the fabric of spacetime around with them, creating a swirling vortex in the universe. The most common type of star in the universe isn't a bright sun-like star, but a small, dim, red dwarf. They're so faint we can't see any with the naked eye, even though they make up about 75% of all stars in the Milky Way. Think our solar system is unique? Think again. There are likely more planets in our galaxy than there are stars. That means potentially trillions of worlds are out there, just waiting to be discovered. And if you could fly a plane through Jupiter's atmosphere, you'd experience winds blowing at over 600 kilometers per hour. That's more than twice the speed of the most powerful hurricanes on Earth. You've heard of diamonds, but what about a diamond planet? Scientists have found an exoplanet, 55 Cancri e, that is thought to be made largely of carbon, likely in the form of graphite and diamond. A true cosmic treasure. Back on Earth, our planet's rotation is actually slowing down, which means our days are getting slightly longer. The change is tiny, about 1.8 milliseconds per century, but over millions of years, it adds up. This is all because of the moon's gravitational pull. The farthest man-made object from Earth is the Voyager 1 spacecraft, which has left our solar system and is now traveling through interstellar space. It carries a golden record with sounds and images from Earth, a message in a bottle for any intelligent life that might find it. Believe it or not, there's a giant cloud of alcohol in space. Located in the constellation Aquila, this massive cloud of methyl alcohol contains enough booze to make trillions upon trillions of drinks. But don't plan a party just yet. It's thousands of light years away. A star named Betelgeuse in the Orion constellation is a red supergiant nearing the end of its life. When it finally goes supernova, it could be so bright that it will be visible from Earth during the daytime and could even cast shadows at night. It's a cosmic fireworks show waiting to happen. Sometime in the next 100,000, you might think a galaxy is big, But what about a structure that stretches 10 billion light-years across? That's the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall. Discovered in 2013, this colossal filament of galaxies is the largest known structure in the entire observable universe. To put that into perspective, our own Milky Way galaxy is about 100,000 light-years across. So, you could line up 100,000 Milky Ways end to end, and you still wouldn't have reached the other side of this Great Wall. It's so massive that its very existence challenges our current models of how the universe formed. How could something so large have come together in the 13.8 billion years since the Big Bang? It's a cosmic puzzle that has astronomers scratching their heads. Now, let's bring it a little closer to home. Ever wondered what it's like to eat in space? Astronauts will tell you it's a bit bland. It's not the food's fault, though. In the microgravity of orbit, bodily fluids shift upwards, causing a stuffy nose sensation, much like when you have a cold. This congestion messes with their sense of smell, and since smell is a huge part of how we perceive flavor, food tastes dull. To combat this, astronauts often crave spicy and intensely flavored foods. That SYU, Alpine hot sauce, is a prized possession on the International Space Station. It's one of the few things that can cut through the blandness and give their taste buds a much-needed kick. Looking into the distant future, our celestial neighborhood is set for a dramatic makeover. Our Milky Way galaxy is on a collision course with our nearest large neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. Don't panic, though. This cosmic crash won't happen for another 4.5 billion years. When they do merge, it won't be a violent explosion of stars. Instead, the two galaxies will pass through each other, with gravity slowly rearranging everything over millions of years. The result will be a brand new gigantic elliptical galaxy, which astronomers have playfully nicknamed Milkomeda. Our solar system will likely be flung into a new orbit, offering our distant descendants a completely different view of the night sky. Let's zoom in on our own star, the Sun. It's not just a steady ball of fire, it's a dynamic, churning sphere of plasma with a powerful magnetic field. And about every 11 years, this magnetic field does something incredible. It completely flips. The North Pole becomes the South Pole, and vice versa. This magnetic reversal marks the peak of the solar cycle, a period known as the solar maximum. During this time, the Sun becomes much more active, leading to an increase in sunspots, solar flares, and coronal mass ejections. These solar storms can send streams of charged particles hurtling towards Earth, creating beautiful auroras but also posing a risk to our satellites and power grids. Next, we journey to the innermost planet, Mercury. This little world is a testament to a rough cosmic life. Why? It has virtually no atmosphere. An atmosphere acts like a protective shield, burning up most incoming meteors before they can hit the ground. Without one, Mercury is completely exposed. Its surface has been relentlessly battered by asteroids and comets for billions of years, leaving it one of the most heavily cratered bodies in our solar system. Looking at its pockmarked face is like looking back in time at the chaotic early days of our solar system. It's a harsh, airless world where temperatures swing wildly from scorching hot during the day to freezing cold at night. Think the weather on Earth is unpredictable? It's nothing compared to what happens on other planets. On Saturn's moon, Titan, it rains liquid methane. Titan has a thick atmosphere and a weather cycle similar to Earth's, but with methane taking the place of water. It has methane rivers, lakes, and even seas. But that's not even the wildest it gets. On exoplanet WASP-76b, located 640 light-years away, the weather forecast is even more extreme. It gets so hot on the day side of this planet that iron vaporizes into the atmosphere. The winds then carry this iron vapor to the cooler night side, where it condenses and falls back down as literal rain made of molten iron. Talk about a heavy shower. Now, for a real mind-bender, black holes and time. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, gravity can warp the fabric of spacetime. The more massive an object, the stronger its gravitational pull, and the more it slows down time. A black hole is the ultimate expression of this. Its gravity is so immense that as you approach its boundary, the event horizon, time begins to stretch. For an observer watching from a safe distance, it would look like you were slowing down, eventually freezing at the edge. From your perspective, however, time would feel normal, but you'd be able to watch the entire future of the universe unfold in what feels like an instant. It's a place where our everyday understanding of time completely breaks down. Space may look empty, but it's actually filled with human-made debris. We call it space junk. There are millions of pieces of it orbiting Earth, from old satellite parts and spent rocket stages to tiny specks of paint that have flaked off spacecraft. And this junk is moving incredibly fast, up to 28,000 kilometers per hour. At that speed, even something as small as a paint chip can have the destructive force of a bowling ball. It poses a serious threat to active satellites, the International Space Station, and future space missions. Cleaning up this orbital junkyard is one of the biggest challenges facing the future of space exploration. Let's try another scale comparison to wrap our heads around cosmic distances. Imagine you could shrink the Earth down to the size of a standard basketball. At that scale, how far away would the Moon be? A few feet? Across the room? The answer is about 7.3 meters or 24 feet. It's much farther than most people imagine. And the Sun. At this scale, our star would be a giant sphere about 26 meters in diameter, located almost 3 kilometers away. This simple model really highlights the vast, empty distances that separate celestial bodies, even within our own cosmic backyard. Space isn't just big, it's profoundly empty. Finally, we come to a fact that connects us directly to the cosmos in the most beautiful way. Take a look at your hand. Every single atom in your body, the carbon, the oxygen, the iron, was not created on Earth. These elements were forged deep inside the fiery core of a star, billions of years ago. When that star reached the end of its life, it exploded in a brilliant supernova, scattering these newly created elements across the galaxy. Over eons, gravity pulled that stardust together to form new stars, new planets, and eventually, everything we see around us, including you. So, when you look up at the night sky, remember that you are not just looking at the stars, you are looking at your own cosmic origins. You are, quite literally, made of stars. Did you know that the Moon, our little celestial neighbor, is powerful enough to pull entire oceans? That's right. The Moon is the main reason we have high and low tides on Earth. It's a constant cosmic dance between our planet and its satellite. But when we talk about real power in our solar system, we have to look at the Sun. The Sun is the undisputed heavyweight champion. Its gravity is so immense that it holds everything in our solar system in its orbit, from tiny asteroids to giant planets like Jupiter. Just to give you an idea of its scale, you could fit 1.3 million planets the size of Earth inside the Sun. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around that kind of size, isn't it? The Sun is the ultimate source of light, heat, and life for us here on Earth. Now, let's talk about some of the other fascinating residents of our solar system. Take Saturn, for example. It's famous for its stunning rings, but did you know it's also the least dense planet? In fact, its density is so low that if you could find a bathtub big enough, Saturn would actually float on water. It's mostly a giant ball of gas, primarily hydrogen and helium, making it a cosmic lightweight despite its massive size. Speaking of other worlds, let's hop over to our Moon. It might look a bit like a rocky desert here on Earth, but it's a completely different environment. There's no atmosphere, which means there's no wind to blow the dust around and no rain to wash it away. Every footprint left by the Apollo astronauts is still there, perfectly preserved, like a timeless monument to human exploration. It's a silent, still world, waiting for our return. Time itself works differently on other planets. Here on Earth, we're used to our 365-day year, but if you were living on Jupiter, one single year, one trip around the Sun, would take you nearly 12 Earth years to complete. Imagine celebrating your birthday only once every 12 years. It makes you appreciate the pace of life on our own planet, doesn't it? And what about our planet's name? We have Mars, the Roman god of war, Jupiter, king of the Roman gods, Venus, the goddess of love. But Earth? Our home is the only planet in our solar system not named after a Greek or Roman deity. The name Earth comes from Old English and Germanic words meaning the ground. It's a humble, down-to-earth name for such an extraordinary place. While we're talking about Earth, let's look up at the incredible International Space Station, or ISS. This marvel of engineering is whipping around our planet at an astonishing speed. It orbits the Earth 16 times every single day. That means the astronauts on board get to witness 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets in a 24-hour period. It's a constant, breathtaking view of our beautiful blue marble from above. Now let's journey to the red planet, Mars. While it's known for its reddish, dusty landscape, Mars holds a surprising secret. At the end of the day, it has blue sunsets. The fine dust in the Martian atmosphere scatters red light forward, so when you look away from the setting sun, the sky appears reddish, but the area right around the sun appears blue. It's a beautiful, otherworldly phenomenon, a cool, blue finale to a Martian day. Let's go back to the sun for a moment. Ray, I said you could fit 1.3 million Earths inside it, but let me correct a common misconception. Some sources say 1 million, some say 1.3 million. The exact number depends on how you pack the Earths in, but either way, the point remains the same. The sun is colossal, far beyond our everyday comprehension. And then there are objects in the universe even more mysterious and powerful than stars. Black holes. These are regions of spacetime where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. In fact, a black hole's gravity is so intense that it can actually bend the path of light that passes nearby. It's like a cosmic lens, warping the fabric of space and time itself. Einstein's theories predicted this, and we've actually observed it happening. Living in space has its challenges, though. For astronauts spending long periods in microgravity, their bodies start to change. One of the biggest concerns is bone density. Without the constant stress of gravity, astronauts can lose about 1% of their bone mass every single month they're in space. That's why they have to exercise for hours every day on the ISS, just to keep their bodies strong. Let's zoom out even further, beyond our solar system. We live in a galaxy called the Milky Way. It's a vast, spiral-shaped collection of stars, dust, and gas. How vast? Well, it's about 100,000 light-years across. A light-year is the distance light travels in 1 year, which is nearly 6 trillion miles. So, to cross our own galaxy from one side to the other, it would take a beam of light 100,000 years. That's an incredible scale, and even our closest stellar neighbors are incredibly far away. The nearest star system to us is Alpha Centauri, and light from its closest star, Proxima Centauri, takes over 4 years to reach us. So when you look at that star in the night sky, you're actually seeing it as it was more than 4 years ago. You're looking into the past. This idea of looking back in time is what makes telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope so amazing. Because light takes time to travel across the vastness of space, when Hubble looks at distant galaxies, it's not seeing them as they are today. It's seeing them as they were billions of years ago when their light first began its long journey toward us. Hubble is a time machine. It allows us to see the universe in its infancy, to witness the birth of stars and galaxies, and to piece together the history of our cosmos. From the tides pulled by our moon to the ancient light from the dawn of time, the universe is filled with wonder. Every fact we learn just opens up a dozen new questions. It reminds us that there's always more to explore, more to discover, and more to be amazed by. Thank you so much for joining me on this cosmic journey today. If you enjoyed these amazing space facts and want to explore more of the universe with me, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us create more content like this for you. Until next time, keep looking up.